9 reasons why you keep procrastinating. Are you tired of setting goals and never achieving them? Do you find yourself getting all fired up about imagining your dream life, but you never see it materialize? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, don't worry, I know exactly how you feel, because about 5 years ago, I was in the same position as you. I would blame everyone for why I wasn't achieving my goals, but the real culprit was me. I gave in to temptation too easily and did the bare minimum every day. But once I got honest with myself and started educating myself about procrastination and how to overcome it, I started winning. Because we live in a microwave society and we want immediate success, everyone wants to get to the how. But before you learn how to overcome bad habits, it's important to understand why you developed them in the first place. So, in this video, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you keep procrastinating. 1. Achieving your goals is hard. As mentioned, thinking about achieving your goals is exciting. But the moment you sit down to work on them and realize that it's not going to be easy, you look for an easier task to work on. Science proves that humans prefer comfort over hard work. If you're honest with yourself, you would rather sleep in until noon than get up at the crack of dawn to go to work, right? When I started writing my first book, I would set up my laptop, get writer's block, and then spend hours scrolling because it felt better doing a mindless activity than actually focusing on something beneficial. 2. A lack of motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings come and go. Have you ever listened to a motivational speech, watched an inspirational film, or read an encouraging book, got motivated to work on your goals for a couple of days, and then fell back into your old habits? Well, don't worry. There's nothing wrong with you. It happens to everyone. The problem is that most assume that you need motivation to work, when that's not the case. What you need is self-discipline, because when you have self-discipline, you will do what needs to be done, even if you don't feel like it. I am a firm believer that there are people in this world more talented than legends like the late Kobe Bryant, Michael Jackson, and Usain Bolt. But because they don't have the discipline to work the way they did and master their craft, they will never experience the same level of success. 3. The fear of failure. It is perfectly normal to fear failure. After all, who wants to look like an idiot when things don't turn out as planned? For this reason, most people don't get started in the first place because they don't want to risk the embarrassment. But what people don't realize is that failure is a necessary component for success. Contrary to popular belief, failure doesn't set you back. It sets you up for success. Failure prepares you for success because it helps you develop resilience. Do you know how difficult it is at the top? John Maxwell said, "It's lonely at the top, so you better know why you're there." While many people desire to be successful, most are ignorant to the challenges that come with it. You'll have to deal with jealousy, people not believing in you, people wanting to use you, and so much more. Failure will prepare you for all the challenges that come with success. 4. Being overwhelmed. After creating a vision board or writing down everything you need to do to achieve your goals, it can feel so overwhelming that the only way to deal with it is not to bother at all. Just looking at the list of things you need to accomplish can give you extreme anxiety. I used to do this. When I sat down in front of my computer and thought about the 100,000 words I needed to write to complete my book, I immediately got up and started doing something else totally unrelated to the project. My desire to avoid the feeling of overwhelm was stronger than my desire to achieve my goals. It was just too much for me at that time. Comment down below if you can relate to this. 5. The desire to be perfect. Perfectionism is a literal curse that stops you from releasing your gifts to the world. But the reality is that you will never be perfect. Let me explain. You can do everything right, but there are still going to be people out there who don't like your work. What happens with perfectionists is they focus on trying to please the people who don't like their work and forget about the people who do. For a perfectionist, the mere thought of not being liked sends them into a state of panic, which leads to procrastination. Similar to feeling overwhelmed, they then focus on other things to get out of that state of panic. 6. Poor time management. We all have 24 hours in a day. So why is it that some people are able to achieve more than others? The answer is pretty simple, really. Some people use their time wisely, and others don't. Time management is a skill that most of us lack. We spend far too long doing random things that have nothing to do with our goals, and then when the day ends, we wonder where the time went. You'll often hear people say things like, "There are not enough hours in the day to do everything." There are more than enough hours. You're just wasting them. 7. Low self-esteem. Low self-esteem will keep you stuck on the same level for the rest of your life. When you don't think you're good enough and you don't believe in yourself, you won't do the things necessary to achieve your goals because deep down you don't believe you deserve it. People with low self-esteem will often self-sabotage, and one way to do this is through procrastination. I'll give you an example. One of my friends, let's call him Andrew, is a manager for a very large company. One of the directors was leaving and they were looking for a replacement. The CEO advised him to apply for the position and gave him a packet with all the potential questions the hiring managers might ask him during the interview. The interview was based on a very specific points system, and the questions had to be answered in a certain way to get the points. The person with the most points got the job. Basically, the job was handed to Andrew on a plate. All he had to do was practice his answers. He was given 2 weeks to prepare, but didn't pick the packet up until the night before the interview. After flicking through it a couple of times, a friend called and invited him to see a movie, and he went. Andrew spent a few hours preparing the following morning. Guess what? He didn't get the job because another candidate beat him on points. When I spoke to him about it, he admitted that he didn't feel worthy of taking on such a position. 8. Giving in to distractions. Distractions are anything that takes your attention away from the task you're working on. Before I mastered self-discipline, I always gave in to distractions. If my phone rang, I answered it. If I got a message, I replied to it. If a friend wanted me to look at something on social media, I looked. I never got anything done because I did not know how to ignore distractions. 9. A lack of planning. Benjamin Franklin once said, "If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail." And I agree with him 100%. When it comes to your goals, you can't just wing it. You've got to make a concrete plan, or you will wake up every morning without direction. When you don't know where you're going, you end up walking around in circles. I often say that no one is stupid enough to attempt to get to a destination they've never been to without using a GPS. There's a chance that you'll never get there, or it will take you much longer than it should to get there. When you don't have a plan, you feel lost, and this is why you procrastinate. Time is flying by very quickly. Before you know it, 10 years have passed, and you haven't achieved anything. There's a common saying that procrastination is the thief of time, and I believe this to be true. You spend so much time doing nothing that eventually you won't have time to do anything. Don't let this be your story. Now that you have a better understanding about why you procrastinate, In my next video, I'll teach you how to overcome procrastination for good. So stay tuned. If this video has helped you in any way, smash the like button and share it with friends and family. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you're alerted every time I post a new video.